Hi, IBD. I'm Meredith Heyman. This is Industry Insights. Thanks so much for joining me. Chip stocks like Nvidia and Qualcomm power much of the world's technology. And with 750 chip makers working to build the brains and the insights of our digital devices, competition in this sector has never been hotter. These companies are also a huge force on Wall Street and have the ability to generate big price moves in the market. So, what do investors need to know about this critical industry? Joining me to help chip away at the sector is IBD news editor Ed Carson. Ed, thank you so much for chatting.
You bet. I hope I'm semi-coherent here.
Oh, you are good. Semi-coherent. Ed and I like to see how many puns we can get in. So it's one for one. We'll see who gets next. I think it'll be Ed. But let's just jump right into this. Ed, what do you think is important for investors to know and track with what's going on with the sector right now? Not just during a bull market, but in general for the market.
I think normally at IBD, we talk a lot about you want to see stocks with a lot of great, strong fundamentals, but chips and chip equipment, they tend to turn those stocks before the numbers have picked up, including even things like Nvidia. So you got to pay attention. Be looking at the estimates ahead, looking to see what's going on. That's what's in where a lot of chip stocks have had declining revenue, declining earnings, and it's only now that they're starting to turn. But a lot of the stocks have made big moves. So you have to be anticipating in a way even more so than with other sectors. But this is a hot field. There are signs of a turnaround, not just with Nvidia, but throughout the sector. So this could be a real big, continue to be a big leader in 2024.
Now, the semiconductor sector is sometimes considered a cyclical business. Why is that?
Because it seems like they overbuild and they build up, and it takes a while to get those plants up, and then they sell, and then like there's a lot of demand, and then demand peaks, and all of a sudden the prices go, and then they start cutting back, and it's sort of like there's definitely some ups and downs to that flow. In a way that a lot of other technology products like software aren't as cyclical. Obviously, they have their ups and downs, but nothing like that. And if you're a chip maker and you're ordering chip equipment, and you all of a sudden, well, maybe I don't need that $500 million order. Pretty quickly, some of these companies can see big downs and ups and downs, and so it's definitely a cyclical business.
Yeah, and what does it mean for the revenue trends for these stocks and their performances?
Well, again, as I was saying, like it does turn around. You have to be anticipating, seeing looking what the estimates are going forward. We have seen some positive signs on that front. That maybe the revenue is turned around, or is going to be turning around. It has turned around for some, like Nvidia, but we're going to see it from others. And the stocks have already risen a lot. There's a lot of stocks with weak performances in terms of earnings this year that are doing quite well in the stock market.
Now, Ed, there are different types of chip companies, designers, manufacturers, equipment companies. Can you go over the distinction between each?
Well, there's your traditional chip maker, and that would be a company that maybe designs their own chips and then makes them, and like that would be like an Intel, where it makes its own chips. Then you have companies like Nvidia that are fabless. They don't have any chip plants or fabrication plants, so they outsource to companies like Taiwan Semiconductor, which don't really make their own chips. They make chips for other companies like Nvidia or Apple or Broadcom. Then you have chip designers, design companies, and some of those are software like Synopsys and Cadence Design. They do software that is often used for electronics, designing electronics or chips. ARM Holdings is a company that does a lot of wireless design. So a new Microsoft AI chip, I believe that's going to be powered by some ARM wireless designs, and so ARM isn't making that chip, but there's a lot of technology in it. So those are some of the things. Then you have chip equipment, that a lot of different fields in there. But those are the companies, the equipment that makes the chips or makes the wafers and all the things in that process. And obviously there's lots of segments. You have your PC chips, you have your auto chips, and that is a whole field. You have your AI chips, you have your graphic cards, and so it goes on and on. So there is a myriad of firms, and there's a lot of things. They do tend to all move somewhat together, but there are a lot of distinctions, and you have to be watching out for that when you're looking at different stocks.
Sure. And what do investors want to look for in the leadership for each of these different types of companies?
I mean, obviously, you want to see, I mean, it's nice if there are strong earnings and sales, but you want to see those strong estimates going forward. It's always great if you can be in a strong industry. I mean, it's like there were some company, a strong end customers. Like right now, the demand for AI chips is obviously just insatiable. And so Nvidia is doing great. It's not just that Nvidia, so you want to be a leader in a leading group or in a leading subgroup. And so that's what makes Nvidia so great. Its chips are far and away the best there. There's not enough of them. They can price them way, like the margins, I'm sure, are just incredible on these AI chips. Whereas, say, if you were in like the auto chips, that has some back and forth. I mean, some EV chips or chip plays were looking very good a few months ago, but now it seems like now there's concerns about EV demand, and so it's not just the sale, the volume, but the prices will probably come down. And so, you try to find the areas that are doing well, and that can change. That can change. What looked like strong long-term bets a few months ago can suddenly go, oh, wait a second. So you do have to be ready to shift gears, because what looks like a strong market or sub-market can turn around poorly pretty quickly.
Now, some major chip companies are thought to be trendsetters, pacemakers, if you will. They enter results, guidance. It really can send the whole group moving. What do investors need to know about these companies?
Well, I mean, those are just, you need to follow them even if you don't invest in them, because yeah, like as Nvidia, it's meaningful for Nvidia, it's a meaningful AMD and a lot of other AI plays, and there's other things, data centers and things, and graphic cards. There's a lot of things that it plays into, and it's also some of the software. I mean, it was a big mover for AI in general. I mean, I think that's part of it, is that chips are in everything. I mean, chips are in your appliances, chips are in everything. So if these leading companies in the sector are doing well, that's a positive sign about the economy and other things. But yeah, you really want to know about those companies that are coming up, because that can really move uh, the rivals, customers, suppliers, and really make a difference in a way that, like a smaller company, it just isn't going to move other companies to that same extent.
Yeah, and talking about chips, there are different types of chips for different use cases. But what we're all focused on right now is AI. Is that the most important sector of the chips to be paying attention to, or should we be looking more broadly?
I mean, you want to look more broadly as well, but AI chips, that's where the money's being made. That's where Nvidia, that's where a lot of other things. Believe me, any company. I've heard Kroger, the grocery store, talk about AI. Everybody wants to talk about AI. So there's a reality to it, and there's a hype to it, and there's reality behind that hype. But that's what's driving things. You want to be paying attention to that. Nvidia right now has almost not a monopoly, but a huge dominant role in that. Other companies are trying to get in, AMD, Microsoft. There's a lot of companies that play around that field. But yeah, AI has that also the potential to be just a generational change. I mean, there's just certain things that just are transformational. It's one thing to say, "Oh, I got a new clothes at the Gap." That's not transformational. That there's a new sweater, out there. It's like there's certain transformational things. AI, the whole thing is something that could just radically change society over the next 10, 20 years. So, I mean, that is just a groundbreaker. We talk about with our CAN SLIM system, the N in CAN SLIM is for new, and that can be a lot of different things. But transformational technological change is something everybody should be paying attention to, certainly as an investor, but obviously probably be a little interested about AI beyond that as well.
Yeah, and even the tech giants like Amazon and Apple are getting into the chip game. What does that mean for the sector as a whole?
I mean, I think look, everybody's trying to, I know Microsoft came out with it, and everybody's trying to come out with chips for AI or for cloud computing, maybe so it's more optimized for their needs, and or just to lessen their dependence. I mean, they're spending a lot of money on Nvidia chips. I mean, honestly, and that's big reason. So they want to lessen that dependence, and maybe not just because it's so much money, but also because they may not have the supply. Microsoft may want to expand more. So that could be something that ultimately erodes NVIDIA's pricing power and market share over time. And that's something to be aware of. And again, and just as we said that chips look kind of will bottom before their fundamentals do, well, we often say stocks top before their fundamentals do. And that's really can be the case with chips. The numbers can look phenomenal, but people are looking down the road saying, yeah, the pricing is not looking so good. The demand seems to be topping out. So it's possible that that's something to be out there for as others enter that field, what that can mean down the road for leaders like NVIDIA.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Ed, thank you for dipping into the chip sector with me. Am I in the lead?
It was fabulous.
That was good, right? I must be hungry. All right. Well, this has been Industry Insights. I'm Meredith Heyman. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.